Welcome back to the 2-Minute Warning. Today I'm looking at the Cincinnati Bengals and determining whether or not they should re-sign pass rusher Geno Atkins after releasing him in this past year. However, they have talked about it and said they're open to bringing him back. But before we get into that topic, question for those of you viewing, I want to hear your opinions. Do you think the Bengals should look into bringing back Geno Atkins? I think he's their second all-time leader in sacks, right behind Carlos Dunlap. However, if he comes back, he's only 1 to 2 sacks behind him, and he could become the top guy of that list. So, of course, comment down below your thoughts. And getting into the topic from my opinion and standpoint, to me, if the price is right, you go for it. The Bengals have a good amount of money in cap space. They released him this past year just because he was going to be a huge cap casualty, and they couldn't come to an agreement on renegotiating the contract. However, the longer Geno Atkins is out there in free agency and not finding a starting job, the cheaper he could be for the Bengals if they're looking to re-sign. Because if other teams don't see the high value he thinks he's worth, I could see him coming back to the team he's always played with. His franchise team has been the Bengals, and I would not be surprised if these two reunited. Looking at Geno Atkins this past year, he didn't play much. He got injured, and even overall, this Bengals team last year just lost a lot of hope and confidence when Joe Burrow went down. So it just wasn't a great year for Geno Atkins being played and not really having Joe Burrow all the time when he was around. So it just wasn't, ideal for Geno Atkins this past year if this was a year he was trying to show he's got value to the market. But that doesn't mean after a recovered offseason in a Bengals team that will have confidence again and new additions such as Trey Hendrickson, and then in the secondary you got Jesse Bates, Von Bell, Trey Waynes. Who's to say Geno Atkins can't come back and make a comeback player of the year case? I don't think he's going to go that far, but I do think he can still have some value to the Bengals if he's willing to come back on a value contract where it's more of a 1-year prove-it deal, 2-3 year maybe deal, just because Bengals long term, I think they'd be open to giving him more than just 1 year because he's a guy that they know and he's already familiar with this team and defense. And like I said, getting the presence back of Joe Burrow and Geno Atkins can really help lead this team if they ever want to make a playoff push. Some experience and some confidence is definitely what this Bengals team could use. If they don't want to go that route, there's always the draft. If they want to look in the second round, maybe a Gregory Rousseau or Jalen Phillips. I doubt a Quiddy Pay, but if Gregory Rousseau or Jalen Phillips fall to the Bengals early second round pick, they might be able to easily replace Geno Atkins right there. Wouldn't be an exact replacement, defensive tackle, defensive end, but if they want to go the exact replacement, there's also Christian Barmore's of the world from Alabama. He's a big defensive tackle. So the Bengals have other routes if they choose not to re-sign Geno Atkins. But to me, if I'm the Bengals, I at least make the phone call and see what it's going to cost, see what the terms are going to have to be for them to renegotiate and find out if they can make a deal. Like I said, it probably won't be a long-term deal. He's getting up there in age, but to me, with the new Trey Hendrickson, who was tied in sacks last year, Geno Atkins can make some noise again and at least just provide leadership and mentorship for these new and young guys on the team. He's coming back for $4 or $5 million. To me, it's worth it, a 1-year deal, but if he's looking for double digits, I can't bite the bullet or swallow the pill on that one if I'm the Cincinnati Bengals. But like I said, they have the cap space to pull off one more move, and they can even go outside of that. Like I said, if they don't want to go the Geno Atkins route, there is a draft, but there's also other free agents out there. There's Justin Houston from the Colts. He used to have 20 sacks a season. Same thing as Geno. He's getting up there in age, but that doesn't mean he can't provide mentorship and just. It's not like he's a bad player. It's not like he won't be effective for the Bengals. There's other guys out there. Jadeveon Clowney, a little more of a wild card play. He's younger than Atkins, but also has an injury history and has been overrated at times. But if you don't think Jadeveon Clowney is overall good when healthy, you're just out of your mind. Jadeveon Clowney is a good player when he's able to play on the field. So there are options out there. Like I said, the draft, the free agency route, or re-signing Geno Atkins, or they might want to go both. They might want to look at, let's get in Geno Atkins and then let's draft the Christian Barmore and Gregory Rousseau to where we have Geno on the field, but he doesn't have to be there every single snap, 16 games a year. He could take a rest in between plays, in between drives, and he doesn't have to be the guy that he used to be where he's our dependent pass rusher and run stopper on his defense. He's just a guy that could take a step back, yet still be effective, yet still be present. However, he is not being the number one guy we're relying on. That would be my ideal route. Re-sign Geno Atkins and still add to it. Don't act like, oh, our pass rush is done now, we don't need to add any more. That would be my route, Geno Atkins, and then look at a Christian Barmore or Gregory Rousseau. Or like I said, they have a good amount of cap space. They might want to go, let's get Geno Atkins and Jadeveon Clowney, or Geno Atkins and Justin Houston. There's a lot of routes the Bengals can go for this, but it all, of course, depends on the price for Geno Atkins. Like I said, just a defense with a new Trey Hendrickson, a Trey Waynes, Jesse Bates and Von Bell. You had a decent secondary coming together. You did lose William Jackson, but the secondary still has some depth there that has some talent. And the offense, the whole team will gain confidence again when the offense gets their starting quarterback back, and Joe Burrow has a receiving core with Auden Tate, Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins, and maybe a Jamar Chase. This team is going to go to the next level, in my opinion. Geno Atkins on a value deal can really help them. But comment down below your guys' thoughts. Do you think Geno Atkins should be re-signed by the Bengals? And of course, what would your ideal price range be? To me, if he's even talking about double digits, don't even consider it, but he's willing to come back on a value deal. The price is right. I'm making the deal and adding to him in the draft. We will have to see, like I said. Comment down below. And of course, guys, thank you for watching. We really appreciate it. 2-minute warning.